Wow, we're back and doing this.
Yes, we are.
It's been so long since I've talked to you two, and
I think it's been 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 years. Because it was 2019. It was before COVID.
well, it was pre-COVID. That wow.
Yeah, because we met at the
My Favorite Murder
book when the book got released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had you on a couple of times on my old podcast, What This Used to Be, and you did another. You had another podcast that I was a fan of that is
Crash
no
and
more.
burn.
is no longer alive.
But yeah, this is and you two are back together.
Yes.
Yeah, we took a good 3-year break.
Yeah.
It was a bad breakup.
Yep. Friend breakup.
Friend
for
breakup.
For anyone new.
Yes,
We're
it
not.
was rough.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Much better than ever.
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah.
A lot. We don't drink during the podcast anymore,
Yeah.
so that's helped.
A lot of growth has been done.
Yes.
yeah.
Drink tea.
Yeah, we drink tea now instead of liquor.
Yeah.
I got
Ooh.
Diet Pepsi. So
Oh, I thought it was going to be root beer for some reason.
I'm not a big root beer guy.
I'm
No?
not either.
No?
I'm not either.
A little too
Oh,
sweet.
shame.
My partner's a big fan of root beer, and I am not.
I'm a big fan of root beer. Do you guys like Mr. Pibb?
I don't know if I have an opinion on it.
I don't think I've had it.
Oh my god, it's my favorite. It's at Chipotle. Next time you go to Chipotle, get a Mr. Pibb. Sponsor me, please, Mr. Pibb.
Chipotle for Mr. Good for you.
Yeah, because I love Mr. Pibb.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm excited you two are back together. It's like one of your favorite bands getting back together that's been away for a while.
That is really, really
Yeah.
sweet.
It's like
I really appreciate that.
it's like if One Direction got back together.
Oh.
Comparing us to
Wow.
One Direction.
One Direction level. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's something I remembered about you. But do you think they'll ever get back together?
See, I
I don't think so.
was never super into One Direction,
was.
but everyone else was.
I don't think they'll get back together because Liam Payne just did a podcast with what's his name? Logan Paul, and trashed the other members.
Really?
Said that he was the best.
I saw-
solo artist.
I saw he did something. I don't know what it was about, but it was something. I don't know. And it's kind of weird. Given the different styles they're doing, like the style that Harry is doing
Mhm.
It's so different.
is, yeah. I mean,
don't
it's
think
not
they
like
can go
trying to imagine what One Direction would sound like, or if he'd be reverting back.
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
see
and I
it.
feel like they've all found their own styles. And then is it Louis Tomlinson or whatever, who went through all that trauma?
Yeah, his mom.
His mom, his sister died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't see it
I couldn't see them
happening.
getting back together.
I just fell.
But in a sense, you're better than One Direction because you reunited. So
Exactly.
Hey, yeah, we have that over
Yeah.
One
We'll
Direction.
put that on our Wikipedia.
One Direction, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's been really exciting. We're taking it very seriously this time rather than last time we kind of just
Yeah.
rushed into it. We're like, let's do a podcast. And then we did a podcast. We've been planning this for 3 or 4 months. We've been getting it together, and
And we were so young. I mean, we were
Mhm.
20 and now we're almost 24.
so,
So it's just a completely different mindset.
yes, we put a lot of time and love into this one, which we
Yes.
loved the last one and stuff, but we just didn't put the time into it.
Yeah. Or the
Yeah.
effort at all.
Yeah, it was just more like a fun hobby, and this to us is more like very serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's something I've learned as doing podcasts. Like I've tried multiple true crime podcasts myself that I could never make the time for. This
Yeah.
other one I'm doing is a book discussion podcast with a friend of
Yeah,
mine.
we listened to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we've been listening to it.
Oh,
I love it.
I like it because we were listening to the last one before we called, and you were talking about a new book coming out with like a celebrity who like killed someone or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a new book that's coming out this week or something.
Not this. I don't think it was this week, but it's coming out soon.
It was interesting. It was a good episode. Whatever your last episode was, I was a big fan.
What was this?
I actually have it up on my Spotify.
Hey, look at that. What was it?
It was Things We Do in the Dark.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one sounds
Well,
really
that was my co-host talking about that. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that one sounded really good. I have so many books.
I like to love books, but I don't read them.
I have so many books. Too many. I have a book stamp.
Oh, yeah, you do.
well, I know. Well, I mean, we met at a book thing, so I mean,
It all comes around.
Yeah, I mean, you must have read that book.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. It was
Yeah, because it was like an autobiography almost, right?
Yeah,
As far as I remember.
Yeah.
I did read it.
Yeah.
I remember listening to the audiobook that day at work, and then buying the book when I went to the thing that night. But and I remember being the only man there.
You were the only man there. I'll never. I vividly remember that.
Yeah.
Like vividly.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't remember a lot of things, but that's like a moment in time that's like stamped in my head.
Just like a bunch of women talking about
Murder.
Well, murder, but also like what you go through as women.
Yeah.
With I mean, dealing with the. I'm sure we can get into the fucked up news this week that we discussed a little bit online, but but like at that event, talking about stuff women go through, and just me as the only man in there in a circle of women, just kind of. I wanted to like shrink into like a shell.
Well, literally before we started this podcast, Kelly and I were talking, and we're like, "You don't give off that male toxic energy,
yeah, like scary, stay away, man energy."
And that's why we still talk to you. Like even 3 years later, we're like, "Oh, Joe messaged us. Like we're so excited," rather than, "Oh no, Joe messaged us. We have to be scared."
Yeah,
like you give off a very welcoming and positive energy. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. And I've been told that before, and I'm sure I know I've given it up, or I've known people have assumed that about me anyway. But, I mean, well, at that time, did you think that? Like me being the only man in that group.
Yeah, for me, I go, "Oh God, he's here to get some tips on how to murder women." But then we came up and we talked to you, and I go, "Oh, he's not going to murder women. He's not here to kill us. He's here because he's cool and he likes true crime and he's not afraid of women. Like you're not afraid to be around women." And I feel like a lot of men are, and that's when they tear them down because they're scared of them. And you're not scared of women, so instead you build them up.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm not scared, but I don't want to say I'm scared. I can, depending on the vibe, I can maybe get uncomfortable, or I can maybe assume I could maybe assume you're assuming something about me, and that can make it uncomfortable. But I mean, I think a lot of it depends on the vibe you give, or if I get the sense I'm making things awkward when I don't intend to.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's also different than like a man who's like very obviously like, because when I think of it, I think of a man like when you're talking to them and they immediately like mansplain to you or like interrupt you mid-sentence or like don't let you finish your opinion. You don't do that. You know, being awkward is more a sense of like social anxiety rather than like dominating the conversation and not letting a woman speak, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think you give off that vibe.
No, not at all.
Well, I appreciate that, but I've been I've been in a couple of groups. Are you do you listen to the True Crime Obsessed podcasts
I do
or
not.
any
Yeah.
of the like it's a like a whole network called Obsessed
Okay.
Network that's a bunch of like different true crime but they're having a podcast festival in Columbus at the end of September
Oh.
that I'm going to, but I'm a member of like those groups.
Mhm.
And overall, like it's been great being in those groups. I've been able to communicate with people. There have been a couple of times where I commented something that someone took the wrong way, and
Yeah.
like I would get someone responding to it like, do you intend to come off like do you intend to come off like I'm like no, certainly not. And so
It's really hard when it's like over text, like any kind of that's not verbal communication. I think it's really hard to tell what someone's intent is. And so you take your own perspective and what you've experienced and you put like what you've experienced into their intent when that's not the case. And I think it's really cool that they ask, like, is this your intent, instead of straight up attacking you and assuming what your intent is, you know? Because I feel like a lot of people do that.
Oh yeah.
They don't even give the other person a chance to explain, like, oh wait, that's not what I meant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
but we should check that out.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah, that's cool. I love
yeah, but
Columbus.
it's
I love Columbus.
yeah. So overall, like
Is it like a podcast event, or is it just for this network?
it's an event. It's the guy's name who runs it is Patrick Hines. He hosts a podcast called True Crime Obsessed that's recapping like true crime documentaries.
Oh.
And he started another podcast called Obsessed with Disappeared, which is the same thing but recaps the show on ID Disappeared.
Oh, I feel like we'd like that because we can't sit through documentaries.
No, we can't. But
Yeah.
listening to
But
it,
listening, I could do.
I could do that.
Yeah, like he started off hosting, but then he stepped away from that, and you know, another host took. But it's like funny, and it's
That's my vibe.
That's
but
I have a
there's
hard time. Go ahead.
there's other shows on the network, like different true crime podcasts. You know, I mean, I'd recommend checking them out.
Yeah, for
But
sure. I'm always looking for recommendations.
But they're having what's called Obsess Fest, and they're setting it in Columbus for whatever reason.
yeah,
Like
that's cool.
they're based in New York, but
I was about to ask you that.
yeah,
I was about to be like, well, are they in Ohio?
no,
Would we go, or do you have to like get an invitation and stuff?
there's tickets,
Okay.
which I think there's some tickets still, like event tickets still available. But
we should do that. That'd be fun.
It's my birthday.
It is your birthday.
September.
it's
Yeah, that would be.
Mm-hmm.
it's September 30th through October 2nd.
Oh, so is it like a weekend kind of thing?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We should look into that.
but
That's
yeah,
really cool.
I'll send you like info on it if you're.
Yes.
I was about to ask that.
But yeah, it's just I mean, you'd have to like book the hotel too, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's but yeah, you got another podcast coming out, a new one coming out, Mystical
This
Pleasantries,
weekend.
which is this Saturday.
Yes,
Yes.
this Saturday.
You moved it up.
We were too. We couldn't wait.
We realized that we put it way too long. I was like, I can't wait a whole month.
Yeah.
We gotta do it sooner.
We're too excited.
So we moved it up
July 2nd
at 7 a.m.
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Spotify, Stitcher,
Apple Podcasts, Google
Podcasts,
I think that's everything, right?
and our website.
And then if you don't have those apps, if you go to our website, there's a download button, so you can just download it to your computer.
Yeah,
just
you can
listen to it
right off our website.
So,
which
Yeah,
is
but it's,
mysteriouspleasantries.com.
there we go.
Yeah, you've been uploading, like, you have a TikTok and an Instagram for it, and you've been uploading clips, and it's, you know what, it's like I'm listening to your old podcast again, or I'm taken right back to, like, listening to the two of you just have that great camaraderie with each other and just making each other laugh, and it's...
I'm glad you think so, because I feel like we sound stupid.
Yeah, both of our partners think we sound stupid.
They listen to it and they're like, why are you talking
They're
about
like,
the bathroom?
You're dumb.
Well,
But I think they have to say that.
we're... I mean, the fact... I've gotten reviews like this on my podcast where I sound dumb, but I think that about myself, and you know, there's times I listen back to myself on like my book podcast where I'm like, oh, I sound like I'm stammering. I sound like such an idiot. I wasn't prepared going into this. I sound, it's painful listening to myself. And
that's how I felt with with our last podcast.
The last podcast was really hard to listen to because since we were drunk the entire time, it was like, this is hard to listen to. Yeah. This actually is edited easier to edit because at least there's not like things like that are just uncomfortable, you know, and that were cringy.
We are going very light on the editing, like we're barely editing at all to kind of keep it like as natural like, as possible.
Like you're hanging out with us. That's exactly the vibe we want to get, is like we're your friends. You're comfortable with someone. Mm-hmm. Like if you ever wanted to reach out to us, like I want that to be an option. Yeah. You know? So
yeah, we want it to be like our little safe space for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't...
Exactly.
For me, like your first podcast was appropriately named Terrified and Inebriated. I remember, but I never got the sense you were too drunk on it. In the spirit of like full honesty, there were some episodes where it sounded like you weren't as into them, or you were struggling to like you were struggling to get through them, but then I remember you took a break and came back, and you also did an episode at one point where you started off like opening up about your mental health.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we did.
So.
Well, and it was that like we were uploading twice a week on top of having jobs, on top of the mental illness, and on top of Kelly was going through a divorce. Yeah. And so it was just too much. And so that's why this time around, we're like, we're just going to upload twice a month so we can really put our time into it so we don't burn out.
We're uploading bi-weekly, not twice a month.
I've said that each episode. I've messed that up. Each episode I have said that wrong.
So,
yeah.
Time.
But I mean,
so we're giving ourselves more time.
Yeah. I know how easy it is to burn yourself out on podcast, and especially when the true crime podcast I do, I would have to like do a bunch of like research, like look for newspaper articles, write it out, try to write it in my voice.
Yes.
And I would try to do one episode weekly, and you know, between like having a full-time job and with like me having my own personal mental health struggles, like there were just times where I'm like, I just don't want to do this. And then I would take like weeks off at a time, and it got to a point like I did like one, then I'm just like, I'm done. So
it's hard to read all that stuff constantly too and talk about, because it's sad.
Heavy. It's heavy.
And that was the other thing. I felt like we couldn't be ourselves with that podcast because we had to be sensitive to the families, to the victims. So it was like we couldn't joke about it. And like, I'm very comedy based. Kelly's very comedy based. And so we're like, we want a podcast that it's okay if we make jokes.
Yeah.
It's okay because it's not about a victim.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's why we're kind of straying away from true
crime. Like with, serious injuries or murders and stuff like that.
Yeah. But the one I was doing was unsolved cases, and there was one episode I did about a guy who went missing like almost 20 years ago now. And he was having like mental health struggle, and there were so many parallels in his story that it could have been me. And it's like, so there was like, I remember one episode like that where I'm like, I'm relating to this guy like a little too much. Like, I understand too much what he's going through. And there have been so many times. It was an instance where he kind of like just got angry and like left. Like his family thought he was just going to like walk it off, take a walk, kind of clear his head, and then he just never came back, and they don't know what happened to him. And there were so many times where I've had that thought, like I got so angry, like I just wanted to leave and never come back. And there have been
I've done that.
There were. I mean, with this particular guy,
and heavy.
I remember a crucial moment in his life was when his father died. The day his father died was the day I was born.
Oh,
so there are like so many like synchronicities. There were like weird synchronicities like that where I'm just like, I mean, that's one of those cases that got like a little too close or too much. Close for comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. That it is hard, especially like when we were reading like stories about women who went out to a party and they got like drugged and stuff. And especially with us now, back then we were young, we thought we were invincible, but now looking back, it's like, yeesh, like these things are commonly happen.
Yeah, there were so many times looking back that like so many bad things could have happened because we were just going out a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
It was bad. And so reading those cases and stuff, when you're like, oh shit, that could have been me, it makes it harder to read and to be professional about it too.
Yeah.
To like give the story correctly, because you're like, oh no. And I feel like it also kind of brings down the vibe of the podcast then, because you're sitting there and you're relating to this person who's missing. So it's kind of...
I remember seeing that in this episode, like I remember being open about that. Like I said, when looking into this guy, what he was going through, I'm like, there are so many similarities that I felt personally like could have been me at any point. And it was one that like affected me.
Yeah.
And
so do you still do your true crime podcast, or did
you?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I didn't think we looked.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It's the episodes are still up.
Okay.
Because I mean, I think like most of the cases are still unsolved. And there's like a couple episodes. Well, I know for sure at least one episode in particular where I was in contact with the victim's sister.
Oh.
And I'm still friends with her on social media, but I did an episode where I talked to a lot of the source material I got was from her and from another sister and her friend. And so.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot.
I think.
Was it in Ohio or was it out of state?
Out of state.
So like you connected through online and stuff?
Yeah.
With the family?
It was I believe through Twitter.
Okay.
And yeah, and I mean, it's just something, and it's the case I like took it, and I'm still following it, and she's talked to Nancy Grace since then on Nancy Grace's podcast.
Yeah.
She contacted Dateline. It's not an episode of Dateline, but it's something Dateline did as like a little web video.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those cases the husband clearly did it, but there's not enough evidence.
That's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is very painful.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, come on.
That is
But
so hard.
yeah, I mean, so I'm still friends with her, and I'm still trying to keep up with that case as much as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I would too.
And since I still have like the feed, and if something ever happens, I may put something out about it live. So I mean that feed is still always there. I might go back and do something if something happens in any case, especially that case.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you have a personal connection now. Like, the family and the friends. I think, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. But it's
But that's why we stopped doing true crime.
We couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, it was too much.
But then I tried another true crime podcast where I'm like, okay, let me do something that's a little lighter. Like I'll widen the scope of true to like include like con artists and cults.
Yeah.
And that ended up being a lot of work, and I gave up on that kind of easily.
Yeah.
Just because, but
that's kind of why this time we made it so, like, because for our paranormal experiences and ghost stories and stuff, we just don't have the time to fully. Because I'm going into grad school and things, and we both work and stuff, so time is just not super available. So for our paranormal experiences, we just read firsthand accounts and stuff, and then so for our religion episodes, we do research and we take our own notes, but that gives us 2 weeks in between each episode to like research it. And then our paranormal one, it's like, okay, take a break,
read, have fun, ghost stories,
read someone else's story. And
I mean, hey, we have a spirit box. Maybe one day we'll do our own little ghost story. So
yeah,
who knows?
Not me. I don't.
Not us.
Can I put in a request for something? Can I join you for like a paranormal episode one time?
Yes.
We should do a ghost hunt somewhere.
That'd be fun one day.
Yes.
Well, because we need the equipment.
Well, we have one thing.
Yeah, we need the with the camera. Okay, we'll talk about the details. But we would love you on.
Yeah,
you could be a guest on the podcast if you want to come ghost hunting with us. We love you. You're always welcome.
Oh, you're my favorites.
You're my favorite.
I love you, Joe.
I remember on your old on Terrified and Inebriated, an episode, you called me your podcast dad. I'm like, holy shit.
I forgot about that, and then you messaged us, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes!"
I mean, you are.
Yeah,
I'll always I said something like, "I'll always consider you my podcast daughters."
Yes, you're probably our biggest supporter,
honestly.
even more so than our partners. Like,
way more.
We know Joe's behind us. We got Joe, if no one else.
Joe's got our back.
And you've been so supportive of that.
I know they do like ghost tours at the Mansfield Reformatory.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't know where I stand on my belief of the paranormal. Like, I've personally never experienced any, but I believe people who believe they've experienced something. So
just hang out with us and you'll experience something, I promise.
I can't tell you how many things happen to me now.
I don't know what it is.
My Alexa it starts beeping a timer, and we'll be like, Alexa, stop. And it says like, no timer's on, and it won't stop. And our lights will turn on. I was taking a religion course last semester, and most of it was online, like my exams and stuff. and my computer would shut down every time I would try to take a religious exam. And I'd have to email my professor and be like, sorry, my computer just shuts down. And I would have to go to the library to do all my religion homework. Lots of stuff. Yeah. And to be fair, though, I live right in front of a funeral home.
Yes, this is true.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
She needs to move.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Oh, yeah, I am definitely down. Just like, I'm available every weekend too because of my work schedule.
Yeah. Because I'm going on vacation this coming weekend, but the weekend after, I'd be down to record all together.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
That'd be perfect.
We'll iron that out.
Yeah, because I don't think you were a ghost on a ghost. What? Who talks? Who am I? Does my brain work? No. But
you know what? This is a preview of what's to come. I feel so.
Exactly. Because I think the last podcast we talked about you being a guest, but I don't think you ever did because we canceled.
No, because I think like you ended up, ending it before it could happen.
Yeah, because it was
very quick, like very dramatically.
It was very dramatic. It was very done.
Yeah.
And that was it. And the worst part is we went to go look at our old Instagram to be like, hey guys, if you're interested, we're coming back. But we were so petty, we deleted everything.
Everything's gone.
Yeah, we have nothing. So we're starting from scratch.
That made me sad.
But that's okay. Something better.
Yeah. That made me sad. I mean, honestly, that made me sad because my podcast daughters were fighting, and I didn't know why.
It was it really was over nothing. It was the stupidest thing. All it was, we got in a drunk argument one night, didn't realize it was a miscommunication, but because we were young and petty
and drunk,
we just blocked each other on everything. That's how it happened. And then 3 years later, I messaged her on the last day we talked to the day.
Exactly 2 years to the day.
I messaged her then, and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry about everything. And she messaged me, and she's like, I'm really sorry too. And I was like, I miss you.
And now we're here.
Now 8 months.
Yeah,
we've been friends again for 8 months.
Yay!
That's all. And
I mean, engagement pictures yesterday.
You had been friends since you were little kids, right?
Yeah, on and on. Yeah, because we were friends when we were in 4th grade. We were best friends, and then I moved, and then her husband at the time and my fiance became friends because they worked together. So we found each other in our lives again
when we were 19,
and then we became best friends immediately. Instant. We got matching tattoos 2 months into our friendship, and then we stopped being friends, and then we found our way again.
Yeah. So it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Now let's hope it just flows.
Just stays together. Which I think we will, because before we had a lot of mental health things we didn't realize.
Yeah.
A lot of trauma we realized we never had dealt with.
Yeah.
A lot of it was me projecting my issues on her and her projecting her issues on me.
Yeah.
And it fed into each other, and it just,
Well, because I think it was 3 weeks before we stopped being friends, my husband at the time left. So it was we were in a dark time.
It was just rough.
We were in a very dark time.
And we really needed that time apart because then COVID happened, and we both had to have some serious alone time. Some serious, I have to do some introspective. And I think there was a reason we had to separate, because I think if we would have stayed friends, it would have not been healthy.
It would have been bad.
But I took time to grow, and I really started working on myself, and so did she. So now it's our friendship is completely new.
It's a completely different.
We still have the same banter and the same humor and stuff, but for the first time the other day, she did something that upset me, and instead of just being well, I'm just not going to talk to her for the day, I was like, hey, this kind of bothered me, and we talked for 5 minutes, and then
fine.
I was like, oh,
because we're adults now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we're learning.
That's that's fantastic, and that does make me very happy to hear, and because I don't know, I've always really liked you two, And
Yeah.
the two of you together is just, I mean,
Yeah, she just needs to go therapy.
I still liked
Just me.
you. I still liked you each separately, but I mean,
Us together is better.
We are
Yeah.
so similar. It's funny because we're similar on a surface level.
Mm-hmm.
Same humor, same likes and stuff. But when you go into like the deep dive, like how we function as people, we're complete opposites. So it's really great because we kind of, the bad things about me, she can rein in, and the bad things about her, like
Mhm.
I can rein in. And so it becomes like a business partnership.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, I don't want to do this today. And she's like, no, we have to do it. You know?
Yeah.
So
We keep each other in line.
yes. But before we were too scared to call each other out.
Oh, yeah. Well, and before we were only friends for a couple months.
I know we weren't even friends that long before,
Yeah.
which is the crazy
So-
thing.
well,
Here we are now.
Yes.
Better than ever.
Well, no.
yeah. And let me offer this too. I'll be like a guidance counselor in a way. Like you both can come to me. Like if
You'll be the mediator.
Yes.
I'll be like the Danny Tanner when Stephanie and DJ are fighting about something. And I'll bring it all together.
Yeah, that's what we should have done before. We should have just
Honestly.
messaged Joe.
It probably would have been
It honestly probably would have worked itself out. It probably would have.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad to be back because I genuinely love like entertaining and like the podcast and like
just creating.
yes.
Like having that creative freedom to be able to talk about not only things that like we find interesting and funny, but things that we find important.
Yes.
Because something that we haven't put out an episode yet, but we've recorded episodes. And something we want to start doing is at the end of every episode, we're going to, give a warning like, hey, we're going to talk about things. If it's not your vibe, you can leave, whatever, peace. And we're going to talk about things that really matter to us.
And it's going to be short. It's going to be like maybe 5 minutes. Just be like, hey, in case you didn't know, this is happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's a couple facts. And then here's some resources of how we can do this.
Yeah.
So, for example, the abortion thing. So we would talk about that, explain what it means for women, and then being like, here are numbers you can call if you're in trouble. Here's places you can donate. And it wouldn't be like 30 minutes.
No, it's not going to be like super long. It's just...
But just using our podcast as a way to give education is also a big thing for us.
And just trying to make the world better as much as we can.
Which isn't
much.
Yeah.
But the things we can do, we would like to do.
And it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, the world. I don't know. We need more love in this world.
Yes, we do.
That's that's the one thing I that day when I just like reached out to message you, I'm just like I feel helpless in the news about the Roe v. Wade being overturned. Like I'm upset for you. I feel helpless in this, but I just want to give a little extra love today. Like I love you too, and
It was a really, really, really great message.
Yeah, receiving that on a day like that.
And it was, and I even read it to my mom because I was with my mom and my sister, and they're like, "Wow, like that was really nice."
Yeah.
It's something that most men wouldn't. It's something that men wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Like to sit there and be like, "I'm going to use my time," even though like they didn't reach out to me. I'm going to reach out and let them know I'm there for them. And it was great.
Yeah.
And we super appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad.
teared up a little bit.
I think I did too.
I
I teared up too.
was very emotional that day.
Yeah, it was a hard day.
Oh yeah, I'm
Like 2 days ago.
That's true.
I'm glad I could do a little something. At least.
If every man did that, the world would be a much better place. To just be like, hey, I hear you. I'm here for you.
Yeah,
I
see
know
you.
I won't understand, but whatever you need, like, yeah,
It'd be fine.
I think things would be a lot different.
Yeah.
But a man like me doesn't have actual power to affect. But I mean, since I don't have that power, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's like us with the podcast. It's like, unfortunately, we haven't even uploaded an episode. So the only things we can do is like just talk,
Right.
and hope that somebody hears it.
yeah. So
And hopefully someone hears it and they tell the next person, and then the next person tells the next person, and it creates the ripple effect. You know, it's the only thing you can hope for.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we need people to get in power who can do something.
Yes.
And another friend I was talking with, like, she just says, like, this is why voting in midterms matters.
Yeah.
Like voting starting at like your local level,
Right.
moving
Yes.
up, like it all matters. And so
And
that's
I don't
why
think as like a teenager and stuff, I realized that.
No, when I was growing up, I thought it was just like the presidential election, and that was it.
I didn't know about any of this stuff until it's like, oh, now we're in these crises.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish I would have known this before.
But I mean that's what we can do, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm aside from that, I'm just gonna keep giving love where I can, a little extra.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's how we feel too. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
We went from being also very negative, pessimistic people to both being very positive and like love based and kindness based, where before we're like, everything sucks. And now we're like, well, why don't we try to do something to make everything not suck?
Yeah.
We're not saying everything doesn't suck, but we're seeing the positivity, you know?
Even me being the age I'm at, that's still my knee-jerk reaction is just, this all fucking sucks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
And it's like you have to train yourself out of that, because if you get stuck in it, then you're just going to be like, okay, well, I can't fix it.
You can feel what you feel, but like you gotta like take the step back and be
Right. Allow yourself to have those feelings, but don't let those feelings control you.
Yeah.
Because your feelings are, valid, but don't let them, like, allow them to come in, recognize them, and then, let them go. Let them go.
You seem so much wiser than I.
I do have a psychology degree now.
Yeah, you just graduated college
So,
like a month ago.
that'll do it.
Yeah. But so, yeah, your podcast will be out this Saturday. Mystical Pleasantries. I do like the title.
Thank you. It was exciting because the last time we did this, we had a name generator, and we did that again this time, but we're like, no, let's make it ourselves. So we actually did like one of those spider webs, and then we put off like a bunch of different like, what is it, synonyms?
Yeah.
So like a synonym to comedy, and so it was pleasantries, like a mild joke, and then we did synonym to not mystical, to spooky. That was mystical, and yeah, it was.
Yeah, we loved it.
I do love it.
I love it.
I think it's a cool name.
Hard to spell.
It is hard to spell. We hung up flyers downtown yesterday, and we didn't realize our name was spelled wrong on it.
On our logo.
So we just changed it. But now there's a bunch of flyers with our name spelled wrong.
The website was correct on it, though.
Yes.
So
that's all that matters.
That's okay. But we didn't even catch it.
No, we didn't catch it.
Your sister caught it.
Yes, she did. But it's great. Yeah, every Saturday. Not every Saturday. Every other Saturday at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
And we did that because, there are people who work Saturdays. And so, on your way to work, there you go, new podcast.
Or when you're like
cleaning on Saturdays.
That's my day to like clean myself.
And I've noticed a lot of podcasts don't upload on Saturdays. So
yeah, I've noticed a couple upload like Sunday evening.
Yeah.
But I mean, my podcast I put out Monday morning. So
yeah, because I was thinking about like I've worked Saturdays in the mornings and stuff, and if you've listened to all your favorite podcasts throughout the week, you're not going to have anything to listen to on Saturday. So that was our thinking. We wanted to be as open to everyone as possible. Yeah. Think about the fans, our thousands of fans.
We have so many of.
Yes, we're so famous.
Well, I mean, you got me, and I'll do my part to get you out there. So
I know, you're so kind.
Yeah.
I think, like, literally, our family doesn't share our stuff,
No.
but you do.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Yeah, what would we do without him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not have a podcast.
Yeah, not have a good one.
Well, I look forward to coming out, and I look forward to being able to join you on there one time and
Yeah.
figuring something out, like for
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go back
Yeah.
and forth and talk.
Yeah, we'll iron out a plan
Mhm.
for sure.
all
Yeah.
right. But once again, that podcast is called Mystical Pleasantries. First episode will be out this Saturday, July 2nd at 7 a.m.
Yes.
You're moving it up a few weeks again because
Yes. We were too excited.
Yeah, and we realized we had everything ready. Like, we had the website, we've already recorded 3 episodes, so we're like, what are we waiting
Yeah,
for?
let's just go.
I think it was our fear holding us back.
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
everyone check them out, and thank you so much for first off for reuniting, and then
Yes.
and then for wanting to connect here again and
Oh, yeah.
be
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I think
honestly,
we
about
are the
it-
ones that need to be thanking
Yeah,
you.
if someone's thanking someone, it should be us to you.
Yeah, we just your support from the beginning is just
well, I mean,
You're
it goes both ways. So
yeah. So yeah, we really, really appreciate you.
yeah,
For sure.
and I appreciate feeling appreciated does a lot for me too. So you're helping
Yeah.
me out too in a great way.
Aw.
So
Hey, and we don't lie. We would have just texted you and been like, oh, we can't do
Yeah.
it today.
Yeah.
Like, we have anxiety. We don't do things we don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And we love you.
Yeah.
Well, I love you
You're a
too.
podcast dad.
Gotta love you.
So
So we really appreciate it.
awesome. So well, we'll definitely do something in the future. And for now, this was great getting to do this again with you. And yeah,
Yeah, I look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah.
awesome. And we haven't seen each other in person since that night at Barnes
Yeah.
Noble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
so
That is
I want to go to the podcast thing in
I
September.
know, me too.
well,
Yeah.
I'll be in touch. I'll like send you info about that. And
Yeah.
I think the ticket package I got was $275. And then on top of
Mhm.
that, the cost for the hotel
Yeah.
will be whatever. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
And
what?
we should definitely reconnect soon in person, too, now
Yeah.
that COVID's, like, kind of calming down.
Yeah.
And we're
And we're
vaccinated.
vaccinated. Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm vaccinated and boosted. I actually got it a few weeks ago, but it was it was incredibly mild.
good.
But I got a
That's
week
great.
off work for it because of
Exactly. You're like,
it's still the same protocol when you catch it. Like you can't go to work for 5 days.
yeah.
So
Which is funny. 'Cause it used to be like 14 days, remember?
Mhm.
Like when it started?
it has to be 5 days from your last negative test. Or no. It's 5. If you test positive, it's 5 days. Then you have to test negative before you can come. So at the end of the 5 day, if you test positive again, then there's another 5 days.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
That makes sense. I haven't caught it. Thank God.
I know, neither have
Knock
I.
on wood.
I don't know how.
Or maybe I got it and it was asymptomatic. But
and then
as far as
yeah,
I got it.
but it's yeah, we'll definitely be good to go. So
Mhm.
looking forward to it.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Me too.
All right. So thank you for joining me, everyone. Thank you for listening, and check you. Where can they follow? I know TikTok and Instagram at Mystical Pleasantries on both.
Yeah. And we also have a Facebook and Twitter, but we don't really use it.
Yeah, we don't
so
use
I
it.
wouldn't. And our website is mysticalpleasantries.com.
Mhm.
Yep.
And you can listen straight. You can listen to episodes straight from the website, or you can listen on Spotify, Stitcher,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Anywhere you listen.
pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find us.
Hopefully.
If we're
Well, I'll definitely be listening, and yeah, yes, everyone, thanks for listening. Check them out, and talk to y'all later. Bye.
All right. We'll talk to you. Thank you.